The only law she's following is the Kentucky law, which by constitutional amendment defines marriage as a man and a woman. The specific form that she is required to fill out for a marriage license specifically requires male and female. Now, if the Kentucky legislature decides that they agree with the Supreme Court and they change the laws of Kentucky, that's a whole different thing. But we're bordering on judicial tyranny here.
Governor Mike Huckabee on MSNBC's Morning Joe earlier today saying that Kentucky County Clerk, who was not issuing same-sex marriage licenses, was working within the law of Kentucky and therefore did nothing wrong. And you just heard the Gov say he's concerned that we're reaching judicial tyranny. But now a federal judge has ruled that county clerk, Kim Davis, has to go to jail for contempt of court. The judge says Davis will be released once she agrees to comply with the law and issue same-sex marriage licenses. For more, let's welcome in via Skype from Los Angeles, California, political commentator Michael Reagan. As always, you can follow Michael on Twitter at Reagan World. Michael, who's right in this case?
Yeah. Well, I think the courts are right. I mean, the Supreme Court has already ruled, whether you agree or disagree with gay marriage, and I disagree with gay marriage, the law is the law of the land through the Supreme Court. So I think she's really a fool, and I said so at Reagan World. In fact, I called her an idiot at Reagan World for getting all wrapped up in this. And when you really look at it, JD, I mean, she's taking all of a sudden this holier-than-thou stand. Didn't she get elected as a Democrat? And don't the Democrats basically support Planned Parenthood and what they're doing with baby parts? So it's interesting. She's picking and choosing where she wants to make a stand. The reality of it is, if she didn't want to get involved in this, she shouldn't have gotten a job with the government.
Well, you mentioned the Democratic Party and where it stands now. We should point out, fairness compels me to point out, that during my days in Congress, there was a significant group of Democrats who were part of the pro-life caucus, and we served together and were part of that association. I guess the point is, there's something else at work here that Mike Huckabee was talking about, and it's what Rex Lee used to talk about, the former Solicitor General, and his son Mike Lee, now a senator from Utah, and that was the notion that federalism is not just the federal government reaching down to the states, that the states have their own rights. And you heard Governor Huckabee say, wait a minute, Kentucky did nothing to change its law. She's strictly using the law of the Commonwealth, and now the feds are reaching in.
She tried to get this to the Supreme Court. They said no, walked away from it in the last 24 or 48 hours. Now you have a federal judge there in Kentucky who has in fact ruled that she is not in the right, she's in the wrong. I mean, if we want to change these things, we need to get more involved in our election process. We need to start electing people at every single level, not just looking at presidents and governors and senators, but looking at the local levels also. We Republicans get so involved at the higher levels of electing people, and we completely forget about the lower levels of government, the assembly, the state senate, the mayors, the people who, in fact, make the laws at the local levels. We don't do those things. So if she's not happy with it, then come out of the government, get a job where you can go elect people you agree with.
Carly Fiorina seems to have the same take on this case as you do, Michael. She says it's extension of the law. A government employee has to approach the issue differently. And I can see what you're saying. At the same time, though, isn't there a danger that government is reaching in and knocking down the entire notion of religious liberty?
Absolutely right. So elect another president in 2016. We need, as Republicans, get off our holy grail and quit looking at reasons. We find more reasons not to support Republicans than to support Republicans. I mean, you can't say anything about anybody in this race positive without somebody else who's got a dog in the race attacking you. Listen, I get attacked for saying things, good things about Rick Perry, for example, or good things about you name it. I get attacked for not even being a Reagan. I mean, I got conservatives coming at me saying, you have no reason to talk. You're not a Reagan. You were adopted. I mean, we have a very angry, mean electorate out there. And, people want my father back. My father wouldn't want to come back. into this kind of situation. He left it a few years ago, and we screwed it up.
Well, one of the challenges we face institutionally is that a whole lot of judges have been appointed who are very happy to legislate from the bench. What have we seen throughout this entire question of same-sex marriage? Systematically, states who had votes of the people, referenda, backing traditional marriage, they have essentially been sidetracked, and you have the judges making law, serving the role as the legislature.
And look at who the judges were appointed by. I mean, look at Obamacare. Who made that decision? That was John Roberts. Who appointed John Roberts? Who appointed Kennedy? I mean, the reality of it is it just proves that Republicans, when they're in the presidency, don't have a litmus test for the people they put on the court, where the Democrats have nothing but a litmus test for the people that they, in fact, put on the courts. But again, it comes down to electing people at the presidency who are going to be appointing judges that hopefully will be more like Scalia and less like John Roberts and others that are on the court. We know how the left is going to vote. We know when something goes to court, we can tell you how every member of the left is going to vote. It's always the conservative side that you have to worry about, because they're always the ones who, in fact, parse and look and make decisions. And more than once, it's been the conservative member of the court who has made the ultimate decision that we have to live with as a society.
We'll have to leave it right there. As always, you can follow Michael Reagan on Twitter at ReaganWorld. Now, Ben Carson's rising in the polls. You got a chance to get his new book. Here's how you can get it. Call this 800 number or go to Newsmax.com/Ben.